Hey guys, so I'm going to show you a strategy to get even more quote unquote dividends from MSTY. So MSTY is one of my largest holdings. It's it's actually the most popular YieldMax ETF out there because its yield is so high. So MSTY is sitting at around $30 per share. I have about 210 shares of MSTY. It does say I'm down total return of 13%, $1,000, but I've pretty much made all of that back out of distributions as well as my strategy, which is actually selling covered calls. Now, this seems like a weird strategy because, as we know, MSTY, MSTY, is a fund that actually sells covered calls on MSTR MicroStrategy. So selling a covered call on top of MSTY, it seems kind of redundant, but it's actually been a pretty nice strategy for me. I try to sell a covered call pretty far out of the money so I can keep my shares. So if you take a look at the price, it does have its ups and downs, and that's just the volatile nature of MSTR and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. But overall, MSTY is going to be trading at a range. It's going to be going up, it's going to be going down, especially during those ex dividend dates. That's really when you can get MSTY at a nice discount. So I decided to sell a covered call at the $40 strike right here for January, or not January, February 21, for a credit of it's only $15. But if it MSTY does end up going all the way past $40 by that date, then I would have to sell MSTY at $40 per share, and that would be a nice profit, honestly, if it actually did go to that price point. But I don't expect MSTY to go all the way to $40, and if it does, that's still a win. But we are going to be selling covered calls every single month to get a little bit more income. That's what this portfolio is all about. It's about growing our portfolio through income and trying to supplement our income with our day job. So for those of you wondering, like, if the shares end up getting called away, will I have to repay the dividend? Not if I'm holding it through the ex-dividend date. So if we take a look at the distribution schedule, MSTY is in Group D, and it is going to be declaring on February 12th with the ex-dividend date, February 13th, and paying out on February 14th. So if MSTY does end up getting called away, that would be an early assignment, and that's not very likely. People who exercise their options early don't really see a benefit in doing so. So I'm not too worried about shares getting called away. But by the date, since I'm holding through the ex-dividend date and the payout date, I will be receiving the dividend for sure. And I won't have to pay it back. So that's really something you want to keep in mind, not to mess with those ex-dividend dates when selling options. So along with the dividends, we're collecting premium on options every single month through covered calls, and that's really what has kind of helped me grow my portfolio. I could do options on these other ETFs I have, but there's just not much volume, and I chose a $40 strike because it's pretty far out of the money. I want to keep my shares, I want to keep growing my portfolio. So while I'm selling these calls, like, just in case I end up getting these shares called away, I am still buying more MSTY just so I can continue to grow my position.